So what are the rhythms that you're putting in place with prayer? Like, when are you praying? When do you have scheduled time to pray, either as a couple or as a family? Is it just at the dinner table? Like, do you have times where you're doing that? When are you getting in the Word? And then beyond that, we do Sabbath. I try to disconnect from my phone and on Saturdays and spend that intentional time with rest. So it's all of those rhythms. And I would just encourage people to take whatever that next step is, and to build from there. The hard thing is when you feel like maybe how you felt early in your marriage, where it was like, oh, I've got to get here, and it's like you don't have to get there today.
No.
I'm curious, like, hey, getting a mentor, that sort of stuff. What were some of those initial steps that you took, though, to kind of become that spiritual leader in your marriage?
I mean, getting a mentor was great. Reading the Word was important. I think that what was also important is my wife understanding. She has a lot of words. A lot of wives have a lot of words to say. And I think that she started to understand that it's important to create space for me to lead also. And I think it's a dance between a husband and wife, and I think both husband and wives need to be into it. They need to. The wife needs to want their husband to lead spiritually, and I'm just so thankful that she wanted that. So she created some space to do that. Also, I literally asked this gentleman to mentor me. He was an older guy. His kids were already grown, and knew his Bible wise. He was teaching Bible studies at the church, big mega church I was going to. And so a lot of people wanted his time. A lot of people talked to him. He seemed to know everybody. And so the first thought was, well, he's not gonna spend time for me. He's a busy guy. But then I felt like the Spirit was prompting me to ask him, and I asked him, and he said, you know what? I've been praying that you would ask me. But I was never going to tell you that. And I was never going to let you know unless you asked me. And I was like, whoo, so thankful I asked him to mentor me, because, to this day we're close. He calls me his sixth son. And, we met regularly for 12 years. And that was so important because I didn't have that godly man example in my life growing up. I wasn't a believer. I didn't know anything. I had to learn everything. And I think it's important that men don't keep any excuses. I think a lot of times they're keeping excuses and they don't even realize that, well, I wasn't raised Christian. I didn't have a godly father. I didn't see it modeled for me. And I'm just going to say, you know what? That doesn't matter. That could be a blessing. That could be a good thing. But it literally doesn't matter. Are you saved? And you're going to say, yes. Okay, well, guess what's in you? The Holy Spirit. And guess what you have? The Holy Book. You have infinite godly wisdom, and God will impart wisdom to you that aligns with the Bible. And you have brothers around you if you're going to a church. But that's why it's so important to go to churches like Josh's, where men are being encouraged to rise up. You got to go and have a council around you of brothers you can run the race with. And the only way, by the way, you're going to do that, and I had to do this. I had to learn how to do this because getting help wasn't my cup of tea. But one of the things I had to do was humble myself and realize that I can't do this alone, that I need other people to sharpen me and encourage me. And maybe the most important thing, hold me accountable. Because so many men are entrapped in sin, deliberate, consistent sin, that's causing them to have guilt on a regular basis, and they don't feel worthy of leading spiritually their families.